morning, Jenifer. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
All right, someone like me is pulled over for a DUI in your jurisdiction. What should I do?
Well, the first thing you do on the side of the road is be polite to the officer and ask for an attorney.
Should I answer the police officer's questions if I'm asked, are you impaired, have you been drinking?
No, you certainly should not. You should tell them you want to talk to an attorney before you answer any questions.
What if the police officer tells me to get out of my car, walk a straight line, and do a field sobriety test?
Well, you could ask them if the tests are voluntary, and if they're voluntary, you should again politely decline.
I want to ask you about breathalyzers and ignition interlock devices. Sometimes people are required to have those on their car. Is that a good idea?
Well, what we try to do is first have it that requirement is not ever placed on you. But in the event that it is placed on you, then we help you through the process of obtaining a breathalyzer in your car.
And what does that process entail?
Applying, paying $100 and applying. That's all it is.
And if I've had a breathalyzer on my car, let's say for a year, and I have not reoffended, can that help me?
Not really. Usually what happens is in Washington is that a breathalyzer requirement is placed on a driver and they apply for the application, they get the breathalyzer installed, and then when it's no longer required, they remove it.
What are the penalties in Washington for having a DUI?
Well, they're wide-ranging, so it depends on whether it's your first offense, and it depends on whether you took the breath test or what the level of the breath test was. So I would suggest that you call and find out what penalties apply in your particular case.
If I've gotten arrested for a DUI, how long should I wait before I call an attorney?
I think it's important to call within 3 days because there's a lot of important deadlines that need to be met, and it's important to get some answers right away. There's also some things you can do on your behalf, so I would call within 3 days.
Now, you've represented a lot of people in DUI cases. What motivates you to get out there and fight for your clients in these cases?
I think it's important to have somebody on your side who knows the laws and who stands behind you, and we go through the entire process. So all through the investigation, we go out to the scene, we assist in looking at what's going on the night of your arrest, and then we go through every single court appearance to try to be there to advocate for you and to try to get your case dismissed.
Jenifer, I know that if I got arrested for a DUI, I would be embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. I wouldn't want people to know. There's such a stigma attached to it. What do you tell people who feel that way?
I tell people that it can happen to anybody, and it is happening to everybody because it's really not an '08 standard in Washington. It's having the odor of alcohol on your breath. So anyone can and does get stopped just leaving restaurants and bars, leaving home after having a dinner party. So anybody can be stopped, and not everybody is actually driving under the influence.
What can you do to help people get the penalties reduced so that they can go on with their lives?
Well, the first thing to try to do is get the case dismissed, and then if that doesn't happen, we try to get the case handled to a lesser charge.
If someone is involved in a DUI accident that causes an injury or even a death, then what kinds of penalties are they looking at?
Those, again, can be more severe if, in fact, a person is convicted. They can range, they're so wide-ranging that I think it's important to call and find out what applies to the particular person. So the first step is to try to get you out of getting convicted.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've seen cases where people get many years in prison if it's an accident causing an injury or death. But if they get a good attorney to fight for them, you can help get that reduced.
Sometimes that doesn't have to happen, correct.
A lot of people don't understand the administrative process. We're talking about the DMV, right? And that's a separate process from the criminal system. Can you explain that?
That's one of the things that's unique about Washington is the administrative process is completely different than and independent from the court system. So it's important to get an attorney that can represent you in both places because we like to try to win in both places, in the administrative process, and those folks are after your driver's license, and in the court system. And so it's important to get an attorney that's skilled in representing people in both places.
And there's some pretty tough time deadlines on the administrative side, aren't there?
That's correct. In Washington, you need to apply for a hearing within 20 days of your arrest, or else that is forever waived.
So again, very important to get an attorney right away.
That's correct.
And on the administrative side, we're talking about losing your driver's license potentially. We all need a driver's license. We have to drive to get around, to get to work, to take our kids to school. So that's potentially a very big negative outcome.
That's right.
For many people, hiring a DUI attorney can be a scary process. What should people be looking for when they're selecting an attorney?
Well, I think it's important to find somebody that you're comfortable with, that you can talk to, that's listening to you, and also someone that's knowledgeable about the law in your area. I think it's important to find an attorney that's nearby the court where you've been arrested. I think talking to the person and feeling if you feel comfortable and that they're going to be an advocate for you. You can always ask them about how many cases they've been to trial on, how familiar they are with the court system, and how much they challenge the case.
And you're certainly an experienced DUI attorney. Tell us a little bit about your background and your experience.
Well, I've been practicing law for 20 years, primarily in the area of DUI defense, and mostly in Skagit County, but a little bit in Whatcom County. And we're located just across the street from the courthouse.
And Jenifer, I know you have something of a unique practice with your partner. Tell us about that.
My husband and I practice law together. He's been an attorney for 40 years, and he's a former prosecutor who joined me in the criminal defense area, and so we work together in Mount Vernon. We have a wonderful time. He's a specialist in search and seizure and loves to challenge DUI cases.
So between the two of you, you have a lot of experience.
That's correct.
How many years of experience would you say between the two of you?
Well, I've been doing it for 20 years, and he's been doing it for 40 years. And we have a staff. Everyone in our office has been working in the criminal justice field for over 10 years.
So while from the client's point of view, this is a scary situation, they may never have encountered it before, when they walk into your office, what kind of experience do they get?
Well, hopefully it's a warm experience and a welcoming experience, and they get to answer have any questions they may have answered.